This video is going to go through two-step equations, specifically with whole numbers. All right, so in our first example, we're going to be looking at 4 times d minus 3 is 17. We need to look through our steps of the opposite of addition and subtraction, followed by the opposite of multiplication and division, okay? So our very first thing I'm going to do is draw a line down my equal sign just to make sure that whatever I do to the left side, I do to the opposite side. That's really important when you're dealing with equations. How do you know you're dealing with an equation? Easy. It has an equal sign like this and two expressions on both sides. Okay, so 4 times d minus 3 is 17. The first thing I want to do is the opposite of addition or subtraction. So since I have subtraction minusing my 3, I'm going to do the opposite of minus 3 and I'm going to add 3 to both sides. I specifically chose to add 3 to both sides because this is my term that does not have a coefficient attached to it. This is a constant. 3 is always going to be equal to 3. So we have a negative 3 here. We do the opposite of a negative 3, and we add 3 to both sides. Now that's going to cancel out, leaving me with 4 times something is equal to 20. And hopefully your wheels are already turning. We did the opposite of addition and subtraction. Now we have to do the opposite of multiplication or division. So since I have 4 times d, the opposite of multiplying by 4 is dividing by 4. At this level of mathematics, we show division by transitioning that into a fraction. So 4d divided by 4 is just 1d. No need to write the 1. And 20 divided by 4 is 5. Last step we need to do is to check our work. And we're going to do that by substituting and evaluating. So instead of having 4 times something minus 3, we now believe that that something is 5. So 4 times something minus 3. If you'd like, you can plug this right into your calculator. And again, we believe that something is 5. So 4 times 5 is 20 minus 3 is in fact 17. So our check works out. Next page. So example 2, we have 1 plus 2f is 35. 1 plus 2 times f is 35. So again, first thing I want to do is the opposite of addition or subtraction. I'm going to go ahead and I find my term that's all by itself. In this case, it's a 1, so I'm going to do the opposite of a positive 1 and subtract 1 from both sides. Again, throwing that line down the middle to make sure that I'm always doing the same thing to both sides. So the opposite of a plus 1 is a minus 1, so that term is going to cancel out, leaving me with 2 times f is equivalent to 34. So 2 times something is 34. 2 times what is 34? Again, we're going to use our inverse operation. So the opposite of multiplying is dividing. So we're going to go ahead and divide both sides by 2. And 2f divided by 2 is 1f. Oops, let's make that look like an f. And 34 divided by 2 is 17. Last thing we need to do is our check. So we believe that 1 plus 2 times something is 35, and now we believe that that something is actually 17. So 1 plus 2 times, and notice I always use parentheses when it comes to my substitution. We believe that instead of f, we can substitute in our value of 17. Multiplication first, 2 times 17 is 34. And 34 plus 1 is, in fact, 35. So our check does work out perfectly here. Last example on the next page. Okay, so this time you might notice that I flipped it around. This time we have 27 is equal to 13 plus 7 times x. Now, if you're not comfortable with seeing the smaller part of the expression on the left side, you are welcome to flip it around, and I'll show you how. I'm going to put my equal sign. Let's go back. I'm going to go ahead and grab my equal sign and put that right on over here. And I'm going to take this 27 and I'm just going to move it over. And now it says the same exact thing. Whenever I do this, I'm always very, 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 very careful to make sure that I always move the smaller of the two sides. That way I'm less likely to make a mistake. Now we have 13 plus 7 times x. Let's go ahead and work through this. The opposite of addition and subtraction. The opposite of a positive 13 is in fact a negative 13. So I'm going to subtract 13 from both sides. I have 7 times x is equal to 14. 7 times something is 14. We're going to go ahead and now do the opposite of multiplication or division. The opposite of multiplication is division. So we're going to go ahead and divide both sides by our coefficient of 7. How do I know what to divide by? We always divide by our coefficient. Always, always, always. Whatever is being multiplied by our variable. So 7 times x divided by 7 is 1x. And 14 divided by 7 is 2. Now to move on to our check. So I always go back to the original problem for the check. We should have 13 plus 7 times something. And again, we believe that that something is actually 2. So checking our work, 7 times 2 is 14. And 14 plus 13 is in fact 27. So we are all done here. Now it's your turn. So you can pause the video right here and solve these 3 problems. In a moment, you will have your solution. So again, pause here and see if you can work out these 3 problems. Here's the solutions coming in 3, 2, 1, and let's see how you did. Pause, check your work. Doesn't need to look identical per se, but it should be the same with the same solutions. I hope you did well.